Hey, tonight I got on my boy Dante Adams. What's good, Dante?
What's up, buddy? How are you today?
Chillin', chillin'. Hey, man, where are you from?
I was born in Johnson City, Tennessee, but I was raised in a town called Greenville, Tennessee.
So you're from Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
Cool. I thought you were from Tennessee, but I didn't want to get that wrong, so that's why I asked. But tonight I have on Dante Adams. My boy's from Tennessee. Now he lives in Southern California, pretty close to LA, I assume, I think. Hope you're staying safe with the wildfires, man.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, I'm actually in Huntington Beach, Surf City. So I'm about 50 miles from the fires, but yeah, man. Prayers for everybody being affected by those fires. I actually know some people personally who lost their homes, man, and it's not a joke. Like there's people that lost their lives, and I'm not also I want to say I'm praying for the people out on the East Coast because they experienced those big floods. Like my hometown got hit very hard. Like there was only one bridge standing after the floods hit, so people were
In your
stranded.
hometown?
Yes, so I just want to pray for both coasts right now because it's crazy, man. But anyways,
Yeah, we need to pray for the world, dude, for
we
sure.
do.
It's just tragic. 2025 has been a rough start for a lot of people, man. A lot of confusion's happening. But that's why we're here, I think, too, because while there's a lot of confusion, I think that at the same time, there's a lot of awakening. And I think God, the creator, has put the right people in our lives at that right time for us to have a chance encounter or a moment of experience, or as I say, there's no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. And I met you in 2019. I want to
A
say,
while
man, it was
ago,
a 2019 of April. I want to say, um, maybe
something like
March or April. It was a really dark time. A lot of us were. I know that I don't remember a lot of
time.
that
Yeah, bro,
specific
it's
time.
hard to remember. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's
No,
just
you're
like
fine.
back in those days, bro. Us addicts, like especially when we first got into treatment, even like the years before we went to treatment, it's just a blur. Like we do remember some things, but when you're using to an extent that I was, it's just crazy, man. Like lost the grasp of time for a minute. Like there's a lot of time that I'm not gonna get back, and it's just like where
Yeah.
did it go? And it's like that was me, but it's like it wasn't me walking, man. I don't know. It was evil. I truly believe that drugs are evil, and yeah. Sorry.
We're gonna get there, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I promise. No, what I was saying is I met you in Southern Florida,
Yeah.
was it West Palm Beach, Florida, at the beach house? I want to shout out the beach house too, beach house alumni here. I don't remember a lot about that place, but I do know that as being part of the treatment community and being part of like being a recovery coach and seeing how things operate, they did their best with what they could do. And I've made a lot of connections and I met a lot of great people like you, and seeing people like you come from the place that we did and end up where we are now, and also seeing other people not make it or still just not have that awakening yet, it really shows that we were there for a reason, man. And so we were there at West Palm Beach, Florida, Beach House alumni. And when you got there, man, I think it was me and another dude that I used to hang out with while we were there, Chris. I think we just started kicking it, whatever, sleeping and shit. But man,
Yep.
I wanted you to go ahead and tell me what happened. How did you get to that place, and what happened while you were there, and what was your experience like, and what happened after you got out of that place, man? And just share your experience of what's happened up to that point and what you're doing now. And if I ever like feel like I want to like chime in, or like if I feel like something's relatable, then I'll cut you off, man. But I really want to give the floor to you this evening, because what you do in your life now is important to me, because you inspire me, bro. You do little things that I find kind of similar in my life, and that reminds me that I'm on my path. For instance, like just little shit like making content. You're really big on making content. You've had a near death experience. You are questioning the universe. You're questioning reality. You're starting to have these epiphanies like I have. And so when I see things like that, that shit inspires me, bro. And I want to talk to people like you, because having conversations with people like you will open up other people's ears to maybe they're not an addict, or maybe they're just questioning what's happening in the world, and maybe they need to have an answer to where to go to. And maybe they can find some sort of spirituality in what we talk about, man. So it's important that I give my guests as much opportunity to speak, and give them the floors. Whatever you want to do, it's your time to shine, bro. So I'll leave it up to you.
Okay, thank you, bro. So yeah, I guess I will. I'm gonna like try to start from the beginning and then work my way to the beach house and then what happened after. So it's not like I'm gonna go detail for detail, but I'm gonna try to get some pretty good details in a like short summary. So here we go. You ready for
Go ahead,
this?
bro.
All right, let's
Yeah,
go. All right.
absolutely.
Like I said, I was born in Johnson City, Tennessee. East Tennessee, raised in the mountains. My grandfather was a hunter. I was raised like growing up hunting. He owns a gun shop or whatever, firearms, whatever you want to call it. But I grew up around. Sorry, I'm having brain farts right now. But
Your grandpa owns a gun shop, much
yes,
like how there's a gun shop and a cafe in my town, dude. Like the dude makes
yeah,
breakfast and sells guns out of this cafe. It's
yeah.
fucking
Small
wild.
town is what I'm trying to get at here. So you
Yeah,
know exactly what I'm talking about.
mhm,
So
for sure.
anyway, so everybody knows each other. It's a very tight knit community. It's in the Bible Belt, so it's Southern old beliefs. Very strict laws on substances. I'm not sure what all I can say on here, but I'm gonna try to keep it
You say
clean.
whatever the hell you want to, dude. And
Okay,
Facebook just
awesome.
got look, if we wanted to, we could really go live on Facebook now, because Facebook is uncensored.
Me and you are gonna have to talk after this. We should
Yeah,
start going live and talking.
for
But
sure.
anyways,
Yeah,
that's
because
besides the
if
point.
we should have a platform where we just chat back and forth, people are like, "What the fuck are those like?" If they're not hitting meetings all the time, then what the fuck are they doing? Well,
Exactly.
those friends of Bill need to know what the fuck we're doing sometimes, bro. I just wrote down, like, when you said, "Can I say whatever?" I was in the middle of writing Bible, and I was gonna put belt. So, yeah, dude, go ahead, man. You can
Good to
say
know.
whatever you want.
Okay, perfect. Like I said, Bible Belt, small knit community. Everybody knows each other. When I was born or when I was raised, my mom and my father and my mother, they met and it kind of happened fast. They ended up getting married within like a year. I could be wrong, but about a year time, they had me. And then I think about a year old, they got divorced, maybe before a year old. So from a really early age, like very early of 1 years old, I can't even remember that far back, but my mom and dad split up. Now, that being said, my mom was still in my life. My father was still in my life. It was just more like my mom had custody and then, sorry, my mom had me full most of the time. And then my father would come pick me up every other weekend. So about twice a month, like, or bi-weekly, whatever. Anyways, so he would come pick me up. He would take me to, he's moved a couple times all across the east part of Tennessee, Johnson City, Knoxville, Kingsport. So I would go up and visit with him and my older sister, Ashley. My father had my big sister with another lady before my mother. So that's my big sister, Ashley. We would meet up every other weekend. My dad would take us and he would take me back to Greenville to my mom's house. And then my mom ended up eventually meeting another man, and she ended up having my first sister and my little brother, or my younger sister and my younger brother. So a couple years pass, they end up getting divorced my mom and their dad, not my dad. Wait, let me backtrack. Before they got divorced, me and my stepdad did not get along at all. And I was very young, bro. And I had a very like tight bond with my grandfather and my step grandmother. And it was like when I was younger, I just wanted to live with my grandparents. And they were like, well, we want you to come. We want you to be here. So I kind of like, it sounds crazy, but at a very young age, I like moved in with my grandparents instead of my real parents. Right.
Okay. I
And it
was
wasn't
around my
like I was,
grandparents a lot.
yeah. And it wasn't like I was forced to. It was like I wanted to and it just happened. That's how it happened. Anyways, so that being said, I was technically living with my grandparents from like, see, it's all a blur. I don't even know like what grade starting, but very young before grades or before grade school, very young on until about teenage years. I finally moved back in with my mom and my dad. Well, I had to end up moving in with either one of them, but it didn't work out. Yes, I kind of want to backtrack a little bit because I'm kind of missing. I'm getting excited here because this is
Go
kind of the
ahead, bro.
first time I've done this.
Take
And
you some breaths. Hey,
yeah,
what do you do? What are you a behavior? You work in the field now, so you know what to do, man. You take
yeah,
you some breaths, man. This ain't nothing but a
exactly.
thing. I
You
sit
already
here and
know.
take breaths all day. Sometimes my girl thinks that I'm like might be like frustrated or passive aggressive, but I'm really
Mine too. I feel
I
you.
gotta get that shit out, dude. I gotta slow my heart rate. I gotta
Yeah,
do something different
I
than I
get
used to.
boiling. I feel like I'm
Mm-hmm.
boiling sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Take you some breaths, man. Don't get
yeah,
excited, man. Don't trip over your words and just say what
I
you
love
feel like needs to
telling.
be said, man.
I love telling my story, and it's been a while.
I've really never heard it either, so this is great, dude.
I was
Yeah, it's
not
perfect
back
time.
when I met you. I was not open to share. I wasn't ready for it, you know. So we never
Hmm.
really got to like talk like that on a deep level. But
Right.
anyways, before I had to pick my mom or my dad's, I lived with my grandparents, so I was around my grandfather's gun shop, always helping him work. I would go work with him. I shot guns my whole life. I got my first pistol when I was 5 years old. Could be 4 years old, actually. But anyways, that's what I
Did
was
you
raised
ride
around.
horses?
No, I didn't ride horses. I never
Oh, I
had a
was gonna say
horse.
you're a cowboy, like not living in Texas, but you
Yeah,
had to have a horse.
I was a cowboy with a four wheeler. I rode
Oh, okay,
ATVs. Yeah,
not a cowboy.
yeah,
Gotta have a
yeah. It's
horse.
not.
Maybe a couple
But
cows. Did y'all have cows?
well, now my family does, but not at the time. No,
Oh yeah, y'all
not
are
at this time.
cowboys then.
Yeah, but now we do. We have a lot of cattle. But anyways, so what was I going? Oh yeah, being around my grandfather, he's a very honest man. He was a teacher. First of all, he was in Vietnam, the war. He helped design some explosives. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but he helped design some things. Anyways, nothing crazy either. Just
Is your
like
uncle Oppenheimer?
no, he developed like a thing called a beehive round. He didn't develop it like himself, but he was in on it. Like he helped them with it. Anyways,
Interesting.
yeah.
That's cool.
We'll talk about it one day, like me and you.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just don't want to throw like a bunch of his information out there without him
No,
approving
yeah,
it.
for
Yeah.
sure. For
But
sure.
anyways, so he was a very honest, hardworking man. He went to war. He fought for the country. He was a teacher, very smart man, went to college, opened up a gun shop. But anyways, that's who raised me pretty much. But my parents were around. I'm not saying they weren't. Had very loving parents. Had a very loving family all around. Not saying I grew up in a rough neighborhood or anything. Nice house, always food, good life, nothing to complain about. So that being said, my granny and papa loved me, bro. They gave me the world. I would say spoiled. Like they bought me anything I wanted, or
Well,
they
you're
would
well
take me to,
taken care of.
yes, well taken care of. And they would take me on trips, buy me gear, four wheelers, anything, guns. Like my grandfather would fly us to Alaska every year. I've been to Alaska like 5, 6 times. Traveled a lot with my grandparents. Awesome experience, bro. They gave me an awesome childhood, dude. And so did my mom and my dad. Awesome childhood experience. Dad's a good, honest, hardworking man. He's not an addict. He doesn't abuse substances. My mother, she's not an addict. She doesn't abuse substances. Same with her, honest, hardworking, loving mom. She has 4 kids. God bless her. We've put her through a lot, especially me. But anyways, yeah, so I'm going to eventually get off here and explain to you how I got onto substances and drugs and abusing them. I told you that I was very well taken care of. And
Yeah.
that being said, it was kind of like I had gotten everything I wanted, so I kind of took life a little for granted, you know? I didn't view life how I do today. I didn't see the whole world, how kids were struggling. They don't have clean water to drink. They don't have shelter. Yeah, I heard about it in school, but never paid no like big attention to it. Like it just didn't click in my head. I don't know why. Like I was smart in school. Like I loved to learn about it, but it's just like something about me I wasn't grateful or something. Or maybe it wasn't that I was grateful. It
You were
was just
sheltered from it, possibly.
maybe. Yeah, I was sheltered in a way because they just loved me so much they didn't want me to go out in the world and get hurt, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They protected me at all costs. And like whatever had to whatever like in a sense, whatever I wanted, they would help me attain. But anyways, that went on for a while, and as I got older, right, into my teenager years, when I told you I had to make a choice to move with my mom, that's when I was like, I want to move with my dad. Well, I moved to Kingsport, Tennessee, went to Dobbins Bennett High School for literally like a day. And I was like, you know what? I want to go back with my mom. I miss my friends in Greenville. I want to go back. This isn't going to work. I think I want to go back to my mom. I came back down here, and that was when it started, bro. My buddy had a sleepover with we had one big fan group. It was like 8 to 10 of us. We were like this all the way from a low grade to the end of high school. Well, hell, past high school. Some of us still talk. Some of them are gone now, rest in peace. Some of them are incarcerated. Luckily, I'm here and I'm able to share this tonight. But that day, we all had that sleepover. We were smoking weed. That was the first day I smoked weed. And I don't know what it was, man, but when I took that puff, it's like I got the biggest relief. It's like I always knew I had some kind of problem as a kid because it's kind of like I would never be satisfied in a way. Even though my grandparents could give me anything I wanted, I still wasn't satisfied. I was missing something true. I just didn't know what the hell it was for the longest time. I really didn't, bro. And finally, the marijuana, the feeling, that substance, when it altered my mind, I guess, I kind of got addicted to marijuana in a sense. They say, oh, you can't be dependent on it, but I think you can get addicted to it in a sense, like with your mind, you know, you'll obsess over it or have a grasp on it. That is
Absolutely.
addicted
You
to
can
it.
you can get addicted to anything.
Yes,
That's the
I
thing.
agree.
People justify their addictions by saying that you can't get addicted to it, but let's just be real. You can become addicted to anything. If I'm struggling with something, for instance, if I'm struggling with waking up, what am I going to do? I'm going to make me a pot of coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
If I'm always anxious, if I'm always doing something, if I'm always high strung, if I'm not learning the proper tools, sometimes people use weed out of habit because it becomes a hand mouth thing.
Yes.
Absolutely, man. We get addicted to patterns as humans. This is
Yeah.
just our experience, though. I totally agree with you. We can be addicted to weed. People stigmatize addiction, dude. Is what
They
I'm
do.
starting to understand.
Nice.
It's not the fact that it's addiction. It's the fact that society or the algorithm has stigmatized addiction. So, how do we combat that at this point? How do we destigmatize something? Well, let's just say, yeah, you were dependent on weed at that time.
Hmm.
You
I
agree?
truly was. Yes, I was.
Cool, man. So
Yeah.
you were smoking weed, and what happened after that?
Yeah. So, like I said, I was 13 at the time. That day, smoked the weed, and from that moment on, after that day, it's kind of all I thought about, bro. Turned into a pothead. My buddies, I still was going to school. Well, I would skip school a lot, but it started to turn into me skipping school, being late to school, smoking before school, going to school intoxicated. And then finally, I guess just months after that, and I still played sports. I played baseball and football all through school growing up, basketball too at a young age. But the older I got, I'm very short, as you can remember, and small. So I was like, yeah,
Real
basketball is
short.
not my cup of tea. So I played baseball and football all through high school. But at the same time, I was dabbling with substances. So I started
Brandon,
with the weed.
you hear me? You're banging over there, and I can hear it. Love you.
Can you
It's
hear
my
anything
kiddo.
on my end? That my kiddo, she's playing with something too.
No, I don't hear nothing. He's got this older chair in his room. I told him he could have this other chair, but it's not in there right now. But he's got this older chair in his room. So when he rocks back in it, it just hits. So it goes doom,
Yeah,
doom,
for
doom. So
sure.
he's in there rocking. Sorry, man.
No, you're
That's the
good, bro.
joys of having a studio, but it's also the joys of having my kid in my house, bro.
Yep.
It's really those promises that they did talk about when I had to go to AA. Like I'm living those promises, man. And he knows like I do this, and he legitimizes me when I feel like that maybe I shouldn't do this, and maybe it's just something that, I don't need to do. But then he's like, Dad, your thumbnails look great, or he'll come in excited, and I'm like, yeah, man, because it's really a roadmap for our kids when they get older, so they don't have to repeat the same thing. That's really my goal and my mission. I leave this planet in this reality, in this form. My son's here. He can have the technology that he does, and this is uploaded. He can hear something that might be able to be relevant in his life then, and be like, yeah, Dad's still speaking to me. It's not, I don't care what other people say or what other people's opinions are. For we cuss or we talk about what we did. This is a real ass conversation, and I direct it to the one person that I value most in this life, and that's my child. So with that, bro, think about your intention of how you would want your message to be portrayed to your kiddo when you get older. But with that also being said, I can't hear them in the background, dude.
Yeah, I agree. No, everything you just said, bro. First of all, I want to say he loves you and he's your biggest supporter, bro. Just remember that.
Absolutely.
And it
Thank you.
shows just from what you just said. And I'm not just
Appreciate
saying
it,
that
man.
because he's your son either. I truly
Yeah.
feel that. I could feel that
Yeah,
just
he's
from the way you
super.
said it.
We speak life in my house, man. We really do. When we eat dinner, we share each other's creations because he's a wonderful artist, and he shows me what he's got going on. Or when he's having a breakthrough with his drawing pad or whatever, he'll be like, "Dad, come in here and check this out." And I'll go in there, and it's the craziest edit that I've ever seen. Way better editor than I am, dude.
Yeah.
He'll drop this crazy edit, and he's like, "Yeah." And he's already got like crazy subscribers. And then he's also an incredible dancer too. And I'm like, what? So
Yeah.
yeah, dude, like he really is an audience member. He is a fan because we speak like this in my house, man. He hears the conversations that I have because this is real life. This is information that he's going to need in just 6 or 7 years. So I'm
Yes.
trying to instill knowledge and information in him that I didn't have till I was 29, 30, maybe 2022 when I finally had that call to awakening. People want to make their kids into the best football stars or the best basketball stars or the best skater, and that's great. And having that empowerment is wonderful. But we also have to remember that we have to speak life and we have to speak reality into them too. And we have to let them understand that, hey, the decisions that I made were because of this, and I was doing this. And at the time, you thought I was in big boy school, but no, I was in treatment because I was doing drugs, bro. I couldn't stop drinking. You saw me drinking, so like, let's be real, And
For
that's
sure.
where we are. And in my household, we truly speak life, and I think that it's a great foundation to have. And what I was going to say about the kids playing sports, man, is we have to let our kids fail. We have to let
Hmm.
our kids have that experience of trying and trying and trying and just not making it. I give my son goals like all A's, and you don't get the PS5 until you get all A's. If he's not getting the all A's, well, then the boundary's clear. And so we strive and we strive and we push, and then that creates little side quests and other goals along the
Yeah,
way.
that's
And
right.
it's all based off of just my own experience of creating my own goals and depriving myself of things whenever I wanted something and I needed something, and showing myself discipline in order to have that. It's much like letting go in order to have more. And sorry, dude, I got
No, you're
sidetracked there,
good.
but
You're
man,
good, bro.
once I get talking about, dude, I'm so proud of my kid, man. And you're right, man.
Hey,
He
I feel
he is
that, bro.
empowering, dude.
Hey, I would be lying if I said I didn't feel the same about my two. I actually have two kids, bro. I have two daughters. I have a 6-year old and I have a 7-month old. I want to add real quick before I go back to where I left off. I actually just got 3 years clean this past week, just so everyone knows. Yeah.
Congratulations on that. We were actually going to record on your sobriety date. So,
Yes, we were.
yeah, dude, congratulations on 3 years. So your sobriety date's what?
January 2nd of 2021.
Okay. Yeah,
3 years.
21.
Yeah.
Man,
But
I'm
yeah,
not no
so
mathematician. I told you, that's why I'm saying I'm fried, bro. Like, just things, it doesn't apply.
yeah, and so that being said, I also work in recovery. I just wanted to put that out there so people kind of get a I want them to know like how long I've been clean just so they know I'm not like fresh, you know.
Yeah, no,
Oh, it's
you're
still
in.
not that much time to be real. Like I'm just
Doesn't
now
matter,
like you
and it
said,
doesn't matter if you also have a day either, Dante. You know that, man. When
I
when
know
we're
that.
called,
Yeah.
we were doing something at a time in our lives that were darkest. You see the people that are around you, and you make these connections. We were just
Yes.
a few days sober in that place. Just a shout out to the people that are, an hour in or just trying to like figure it out. It doesn't matter, but 3 years is a big fucking deal too, bro. It's a huge deal, especially
Especially
with
for
your
a
drug
guy
of
like
choice.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your drug of
Yeah.
choice, what was you doing, dude?
Honestly, bro, well at the end of it I had to detox from fentanyl, Xanax, and cocaine. That was my mixture, my daily mixture. I built a high tolerance up to the fentanyl, but over like my haul from the when I was 13 till 3 years ago, I've tried every drug pretty much. Not every single drug, but pretty much all the ones you can get here in North America
Yeah,
or in the United States, I should say. But
you could get
all
your
the
hands
hard
on it. You're right.
drugs, I was a needle addict, yes. And the other thing I wanted to clear up before I started, I'm not going to get too much into detail because I just, it's not that time yet, but a lot of things happen to us before we actively use substances. We have the problems before our mental health, right? So at a young
Correct.
age, bro, something traumatic happened to me. Not going to get deep into it. Couple of traumatic things happened. And so when I told you, once I started smoking, I was kind of ungrateful at times. I kind of worded that wrong. I told you I was spoiled, but my emotions were very strange as a child. I had a lot of anger and I had a lot of happiness, right? So that being said, I don't know where a lot of anger came from, but I guess from those events that happened and then me growing up and then finally turning to substances, it's like that's when that feeling that I had from getting high, that was the answer to making me feel better from those things that happened before in my past, right?
Mhm.
So I fell in love with like every drug I did, any drinking. I even used to huff gasoline in my dad's garage in my mom's basement. I'd siphon gas out of her Yukon. Did that for a long time. That was after the weed. And then came along harder substances. Well, that's pretty damn hard, but cocaine came into the picture. Pills, pain pills, stealing pills from my buddies' grandparents and stuff, things like that. Xanax, Klonopin, pain pills. And I loved it, bro. That was my life. I had it in my head that I didn't care anymore. I was the black sheep. Like, yes, I was raised right, but it don't matter. This is my life now. I've already chose it. Like, I worried my whole family sick. They begged me just to quit smoking weed. Like, my mom wanted me to quit smoking weed when I told you I started. She begged and begged my whole family, but I just wouldn't listen. I refused. I was going to do what made me feel good. You know? Long story short, kept graduating to higher and harder substances that just harm my body even more, like substances do. They're poison, bro. They're put here for a reason, in my opinion. I just started abusing them, and what happens when you start abusing those substances after months on end? You start getting a dependence to it. Your
Mm-hmm.
body, you build that addiction. Now, mind you, the mind addiction started a few weeks back or a few months back. I was already addicted in my mind, but I didn't feel the sickness yet. So my mind was telling me to keep going, even though all these studies and everyone, oh, you're going to get addicted to that stuff. Why in my head, not me? I've never felt addicted. I wake up just fine. But that's because I hadn't been using long enough to know what dependency is, right? So, long story short, once I started doing the harder stuff, that's when I noticed when I didn't have money, maybe I couldn't get my stuff, I would feel sick. I did start feeling sick. So I was like, okay, this is weird. I think that's the moment I figured out that I was addicted or I was an addict. But I didn't want to admit it yet. I wasn't ready for that. So I was okay with being an addict. Now, mind you, then I caught a case when I was 19, a pistol charge and a cocaine charge. Firearm was clean. It was a gift from my father. I was just with some bad people at the wrong time. I took the charge. Luckily, my mom and my grandparents hired me one of the best lawyers in town, and it was like my first time in trouble. So I still did some jail time, but it saved me from going to prison. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I did some time and I was paroled out, so I got blessed, bro. Thank you for my mom and my grandparents for doing that, bro. Because if I had a public defender, it might not have went the way it would have went. Small towns, those paid attorneys, bro. Well, I'm not going to go too much into it, but put it this way. It's not like what people think. It's kind of like you give a sum of money, they already are friends with the judge. They go have a lunch and have a chat, and it's kind of like that in a
Yeah.
small town.
It was
And if
really
you,
weird to me seeing my defense attorney go and like shake hands with the prosecutor. It was quite odd.
yes, bro, exactly. You see them all, they're all friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, I don't know. But anyways, I
I,
don't want to go too far into it, but anyways, so I caught my cases. I think I did like 6 months that time. I had a violation because excuse me, I messed up. That was my second time in trouble, but my first big time in trouble. The first time I got in trouble was for some weed, was a joint. So I was on probation. So when I caught that case, it violated my weed probation. So I had to do my violation time before I could bond out and fight my case. That's what happened. I kind of messed up there, but anyway, um,
the dependency to weed spiraled into some more shit,
yeah, into the
and
harder
then
substances. Yes. So then, like I
Mhm.
said, I started going to jail. And then when I went to jail, that's when I got introduced to the needle, IV use, right? I started using the
In jail.
needle. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. That was the first time I shot up. It's pretty nasty, but I want to keep this as real as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Watched 8 dudes use the needle before me. It's disgusting. I took it, did it, bro. And that's just the facts. And ever since I did that, it was a disgusting homemade needle, too. But,
Yeah.
anyways, I made it happen. And actually, I didn't do it myself. I had to ask somebody to do it for me. It's sad, man. Now I look back at it. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I thought it wasn't that big of a deal. I was like, oh, these guys do it. I'm in jail. Well, I can't get in trouble. Like, what's going to happen? What's the worst that can happen? Like, yeah, let's run it. Biggest mistake of my life. That moment forward, that's all I cared about was getting high with the needle now. So a couple years go by, in and out of jail. Didn't really catch any major new cases. I don't know how. I did a lot of bad stuff. Resorted to robbing my friends, robbing people I didn't know, robbing random drug dealers, stealing from stores, stealing from my friends, stealing from family. I've stolen from my mom. I've stolen from my grandparents, stolen from a lot of my good friends I grew up with. Because I told you, man, my addiction, it was just so bad. And like, I was such in a bad head space. And some of the stuff I don't even remember that I did it. I just get told by people. They're like, you know, you still did that to me, right? And I'm like, I'm sorry. Can I make amends? I might not be rich. I can't give you $10,000 to fix your happiness, but or to fix the damage. But you know, I can apologize and try my best to help you in a way.
Let
Might
your
not be the same.
actions, if anything, and who you are now be a resemblance of your amend.
Yes, I agree. So,
It's a
and I
beautiful
told
thing.
you, my grandpa had a firearm or a gun shop. So that was a big thing of mine, guns and drugs. Sold a lot of guns, sold a lot of drugs, man. And I peddled and fed a lot of drugs to people I love. And I don't know, that's the twisted part of the addiction because I wouldn't do that when I'm sober. Now that I'm sober, I look at people like if you're giving somebody a substance, you don't love them. You're killing them. I was killing my own friends, my own family, you know? And that's what makes me sad because and a lot of guilt. Us addicts, what people don't know, and a lot of people a lot of people just won't be open like I am, but we hold a lot of guilt. We face a lot of emotions every time we wake up from our past and things we did. Even though we're not dwelling on our past, it just sometimes they pop up, you know, and it can affect your day. It might make you feel more grateful that day. It might make you want to be in service that day, you know. It can make so many different things happen. It can make it be a bad day. Maybe you might be a little depressed. Maybe you just want to be with your loved ones in the house and not go outside the house, you know? There's so many different ways things can happen. It's kind of infinite, you know? It never
Hmm.
stops. But, anyways,
Hold on, Dante.
yes,
Do you w- do you experience guilt a lot?
I do.
Would it be guilt or remorse?
Or, yeah, I guess remorse, maybe. Guilt and
Because
remorse.
I think guilt is a
Sorry,
feeling.
excuse me real quick, guys, but I like to look at myself very smart. My whole family's very smart, educated. I never went to college, but I'm still learning better vocabulary as I'm studying
Yeah.
and stuff. So
No,
bear with me,
we're all
guys.
learning, brother. We're learning.
Sometimes
We're
I
all
say
learning, and
something, like I'll say something and it might sound weird or I said the wrong thing. So it might confuse a lot of people out there. So call me out in the comments if I mess up and I'll tell you if I messed up. And if you call me
no,
out on
brother.
something, yeah.
It's
But
good
anyways,
because no, what you said was it created dialogue, and I love asking questions like that because what I want to say is guilt is, for instance, sometimes I experience dad guilt, dude. Like when I have to really create a boundary or a hard boundary for my son. He's 12, so going to bed at 7 or 8 sucks sometimes. He
yep.
can he can really work up those tears, and that guilt that I feel, that's guilt. Remorse is, I think back on some instances where I was a real shitty person when I was
Hmm.
in my addiction.
Yeah.
And now, at a point in time, I did feel guilt. But now, because of who I am and the experience that I've had and the traumatic event that I've also had, I want to talk about that with you in a little bit.
Okay.
The traumatic event, and we won't even have to touch in on what happened, but the traumatic event that happened also created other trauma to happen. When I realized that trauma created trauma, then the guilt turned into remorse, and I'm like, I don't have to carry that no more. Then I can live in this new type of enlightenment or light and feel a little bit freer and still have remorse, but not carry that guilt. And
Yeah.
so you
Good
wake up
point.
and you instead of saying you wake up and you might feel that guilt, you wake up and you remember where you came from.
Yeah. Good point, brother.
And don't be so hard on yourself, man. You have a beautiful fucking story.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's just, I feel a lot of emotion sometimes, man, because I'm sure you know, or sorry, can y'all still hear me good? Am I
Yeah, I
close
can hear
enough to
you.
the mic? Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Everything's bouncing.
Okay. Perfect. Where was I going? Oh, yeah.
I have some notes so you can I can remind you. But you were committing a lot of crime because of the things that you were doing,
Oh, yeah.
and
Let's get
you
back
you
to that.
started experiencing guilt from that.
Yeah. Let's get back to that. I want to touch base on another thing. Could you write this down? to ask me after I explain this one thing.
Yeah.
Put down, ask me about my football helmet after I explain what I'm about to explain.
Okay.
All right. So, anyways, like I said, I started doing crime, robbing people, just being a slime ball, little snake. I had this time of life where I thought I was evil. People thought I was a demon. Or I was like trying to convince people that I was just out of my mind on the meth and all the drugs and acid and ecstasy. Because, like, when I used, it's almost kind of, when I look back, I feel like sometimes I was trying to do a little more than just get high, bro. I was destructing myself. I was mixing a lot of the substances that can kill you, and it seemed like a lot of my days in my past, I was living that life, almost dead, like walking around like practically a dead body. And a miracle, grace of God, I'm still here, and I was able to shake it back. So when I did them crimes, trying to think of how I can explain the timeline. I'm probably 20 right now in my story, doing dirt. Didn't really have nowhere to go. None of my family wanted me around. I didn't talk to any of my siblings or my parents, only when I wanted money or wanted to manipulate them into something, food, money, place to stay for the night, phone charger, because I'd get so high I'd lose all my stuff. And then all I cared about was my sack. At first, I was, like flipping and making money, but it just turned into me flipping for my habit. It's like I was selling them just to get high. Like most people say in these podcasts, we all end up saying that. Once you start using your own supply, it's like, it's just
Yeah.
not going to work out. But
Right.
anyways,
You're gonna use all of your supply. If you're
yes,
dependent on it, you're gonna use it.
yes,
If
that
it's
you
there,
can't say no to it. If it's in your
correct.
vicinity and you know it's there, you're going to go to it. It's like a magnet.
I
Yes,
want
I
to be
agree.
clear. I'm big on harm reduction, Dante, and so I want to have a safe space for people. And
Yes,
my recovery shouldn't fall on the hands of everyone else that's still living their life, and they might not find chaos within other substances. And what I mainly speak on is alcohol. I can now have alcohol in my fridge and stuff. My girlfriend, she likes to have a glass of wine sometimes, and sometimes her brothers will come over and they'll watch the game with me and they'll drink some beer, you know.
same
But the
here, brother.
main thing, I had to have my mind right. But when my
Yes,
mind wasn't right, and if that was in there, if I wasn't meditating, if I wasn't connecting, I would be fucked up. I would be
me
fucked
too.
up.
Me too, brother. I agree. I'd be cracking the can.
Yeah.
I couldn't say
So
no.
you said that, you had it all around you and it was just plentiful. And
Yes.
so just more destruction. You were in jail and you were using this needle with 8 other men. What happened after this, man?
Well, I'm gonna be real honest. After that, I ended up catching hepatitis C. I ended up getting cured from that. And I'm not care. I don't even care to say that because it's public anyway. Once you come up with something like that, they report it to the CDC and all that until you get cured. Or not CDC or something here in California. Something like they make it public, literally.
Mhm.
I didn't know I had this stuff until I finally came to treatment and got tested. So, but I did Epclusa treatment. I took a pill for 3 months, and it cured me, bro. No traces, no active virus, no caseload right now. So it worked out
Blessing.
good for me.
You got
Yeah.
blessed.
Yes.
My dad lived with hepatitis C his entire life after he got addicted to the needle.
Yeah. So I do have a little damage to the liver, but luckily I caught it way before like most people do. A lot of people live with it, like you said, and it just destroys, bro. It gets that fatty and it just eats it up and it's
Mhm.
just not good, man. It's kind of like alcohol in it in a way or in a sense, right?
Yeah,
In a sense, but it's a
absolutely.
little different. But yeah, I recently got cured from that while within the past 3 years since I've been here, since I've been clean.
That's awesome, dude.
I would never go back to that needle. I promise you that. You can't
I
force
believe
me,
you.
bro. You can't
I
force me, bro. You'd have to shoot
Would
me.
infinitely believe you.
Thanks, brother. I'm glad you do.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, if anybody can live from passing around it, watching seven other men pass around a needle, catch it, and then say, hey, I don't have this no more. And I believe you. I believe that you pretty much have learned your lesson. For instance, it's just little shit like if I had a bad experience with something and it makes me throw up and I love it, like for instance, sushi. I love this
Yes.
place in Tyler, this sushi place, man. It was fucking phenomenal. But one night I ate it and I got deathly sick. Like
Oh,
4 hours later, I just got sick. I won't go
yeah.
back there, dude. And I loved that. Never had the sushi wasn't bad.
Huh.
But you see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we can we can love this shit, but like once it makes us sick to the point of like our bodies will physically, I believe you, dude. Infinitely
Yeah.
believe you will never go back.
Yeah.
But what happened? You caught hepatitis C after sharing this needle. What were y'all shooting up in jail?
The first time I injected, it was methamphetamine.
So
Cut
you
with
were
something.
tweaking, boy.
Yeah, it was cut with something trippy. It was a little kind of like I'm not sure. Maybe it was just very intense because it was my first time doing meth and I blasted it, you know, and I thought it was trippy, but I feel like it had something else in it too. But
It
anyways,
definitely, if it had Hep C, it definitely probably had something else in it. Holy shit.
yeah, it was wild, bro. And I just remember that night, like when I first started getting sober, I used to have dreams, brother, of stuff like that, of needles, me like, that movie Saw,
Mm-hmm. Where
and
she
this
falls in the pit.
people might say, "Oh, he's just saying this. This is clickbait or rage bait." Bro, I literally, and another dream, I literally used to have that dream, not the exact same situation, a female in the needle pit in the Saw movie, but me falling like into my fear needle, or not fear needle, just like the fear of me going back to it in my dream, right? I didn't want to relapse.
Had you fallen.
And it had me falling back in my old ways in the needles. It was like I would like look down, needles would fall out my pocket. Or I'd look down, there's a bunch of needles on my lap. Or I would like look down, there's a bunch of fentanyl pills in my pocket in my dreams, right? Or I
Yeah.
would have dreams of me shooting up too, of me actually putting the needle in my arm. And then I would have dreams of all my teeth falling out. I still have that dream sometimes. My teeth will fall out. It's
Mm-hmm.
weird. Dreams are
My
weird.
teeth are falling out in reality.
Mine too. All the
I'm just,
substances. I didn't take care of my teeth, bro.
me neither.
I'd
I
go
got
weeks
punched
without
in the
brushing my
mouth. I mean,
teeth.
it's not really that the fact that like it's fucked up teeth. I just got so, it really, yeah, it's same thing. I put myself in situations where I got punched in the mouth a lot, you know?
Yeah, same here. I have a fake tooth actually. One of my front teeth.
I
I have a
pulled
big
that
gap.
motherfucker out. Yeah. Anyway, uh,
Anyways,
before we talk about this last experience, because you went to the beach house too,
yeah.
I want to touch on something because you said that you had a traumatic event that happened when you were younger. If you want to, you can. But what I want to touch on is you didn't talk to whatever had happened. You weren't able to communicate or connect with anybody after that traumatic event. So you connected with drugs.
I didn't tell
So
anyone. I felt like no one.
how do you deal with that traumatic event now instead of using drugs?
Let's get into that. Like I said, bro, I want nothing but the truth on this show, on this podcast, on this talk, anything with me moving forward from me being clean. I want the truth. I truly believe good and evil, truth and lies. You put good in the world, good things will happen. I'm very honest, even with myself. I'm honest. I don't finesse, not little things. I don't do little lies. I'm very honest. So, anyways, something happened when I was a young kid. Couple things. So let's just say some abuse happened. Okay. Abuse happened. And it kind of just, and let me say this before people make assumptions and before they start thinking, that's all I'm going to say is some abuse. And abuse could mean a lot of different things. So hopefully the
Child
viewers
abuse
know
is
that.
child abuse.
Yeah. Yeah. But I want to clear that up. It wasn't child abuse from my real parents.
Okay.
Nothing
Yeah,
like
we don't
that.
want to
Or my
demonize your parents. We don't
grandparents.
want to make anybody assume that your parents were doing anything
Yes,
bad, especially if that's not the case. So
exactly.
you weren't being abused by your parents. You said your parents were loving parents anyways when you first said when you
Yes. So, yes, I got abused by someone who came into my life who wasn't a blood family member. Let's just say that. I wasn't related to this person by blood. So some abuse happened a couple of different times with two different people. And then from that moment forward, right, when bad things happen, now remember earlier, me and you said we can't really remember a lot, right? Because our brains suppress bad memories. We don't
Mhm.
want to remember that stuff, especially really traumatic events. Everybody's different though. Some people can't. Some people, that's why they're diagnosed like by a doctor. I'm not diagnosed with anything.
You were saying the good and bad.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The
It's all
good,
right,
well,
man. We're all
or yeah,
space monkeys in
no,
the
I cleared
cosmos.
that up. I cleared the good and bad. I just truly believe like you do good, good things come. Do bad, bad things come. But
Yep. And that's funny because on my notes here, boom, notes. It says good and bad, give and take, the yin yang, and then it's got an arrow pointed to quantum physics
huh,
because you said something about quantum physics earlier, but we're gonna take it slow. We're
yeah,
gonna take
let's
it
take it
slow.
slow. Let's not rush
Yeah,
this.
yeah. So let's talk about the good and bad, man. Let's talk about
Oh yeah, can
the
I add something
experience
real
because
quick?
what? No, my yeah. Hold on.
Okay,
My
my bad.
initial question though, brother, was what do you do now? Because there was a
Yes,
traumatic event that had happened
yes,
and you were connecting to drugs because you weren't connecting to something greater than yourself. You weren't talking about this traumatic event. You
yes.
connected to drugs instead. So in today's reality, what do you do? You know, that traumatic event you were talking about, you know, some people suppress that and some people understand the good and bad. And I think I know where you're going with this because
Yes.
I had a traumatic event too. And it was a fucked up traumatic event. And
Yeah.
then I'm starting to see how my life's playing out now. And I'm seeing that that bad event had to have happened in order for me to have this experience now, for the
It
good
did.
to
It
happen
did.
now. Am I tracking with you?
You're making sense to me. Perfect
Okay. Well,
sense.
you keep telling me, man, because the shit that you're saying is relevant. It's relevant to what I speak on, and when I'm driving in the car and I'm talking about two different things living inside of me, one my conscience, and the other being my mind. And my mind's gonna die here, but my conscience, my spirit, my soul's gonna live forever, and it's a complete detachment from my body now. That's physics. There was a comment, gonna get into it now because I'm excited about this shit. Someone made a comment on your Facebook page because you asked about quantum physics literally today.
Yeah.
Someone said they are quantum physics, and they are absolutely right. Everything
Yeah.
in this reality is quantum physics. Take back to Aubrey's near death experience episode where she was in a coma for 5 days from a fentanyl overdose and went to multiple dimensions, realized that her soul could fly, went to hell, experienced hell, and then understood what string theory was after she came back from her time from a coma. So
Yeah.
yes, dude.
Shout out
The
Wyatt. Shout out my boy Wyatt. He actually made that comment. He's absolutely right. We're all familiar with the particle theory, right? You are?
yes,
Yeah, so we're particles, right? Or it's believed that it's a bunch of small particles, correct me if I'm wrong, make something like a bunch of small particles, right? Make
yes,
something.
everything is built out of particles.
Yes. So I'm right on that. I just want to make sure I don't sound dumb.
No, there's particles flowing.
Okay. This is going to be a very basic question or a very basic answer I'm looking for. What kind of particles are there, bro?
There's billions and billions of particles.
Yeah, but
I'm
there
gonna get
are
my phone.
good.
I'm gonna get my phone back up. Just 1 second, brother. You keep talking, and then I'll get this fixed.
Right, so I asked you what kind of particles are there. You're right, there's so many. Well, technically, it's infinite, right? So that being said, there's good and bad particles, right? Now, how we all view good and bad, I mean, we all have our own beliefs and opinions, but I believe that good and bad, we live it every day. We choose to live, obviously, by our actions and just how we think and how we speak and how we are with our families, how we love, even how we lust, you know?
There's an
I can
infinite
see
amount of
now.
particles in the world, infinite
Yeah.
amount of particles in this reality and in this universe.
So
And I'm sorry, but
that
that's
makes
probably
me,
gonna happen again.
I have just a few big questions and I just can't really find a true answer, right?
Questions like
Okay.
what?
So people like to believe we're advanced, right? Like as a modern day society, we're advanced. Like we have tech, would you think that? We have good theories, we have good hypotheses of things that happen, we have good facts, we have good history. What do you think?
For the question that you're asking and for the general audience, yeah, a lot of people do believe that this is an advanced society,
Yeah. Well, guess what?
but I
It's
don't
not
believe
as
that.
advanced. We're not far. Matter of fact, we're very far behind from some of our ancestors. And you know what's crazy? Back when I was using with some of my buddies back in the mountains of Tennessee, right? Had a lot of hippie buddies. Very like connected to the ground. Sorry if I offended anybody. I'm just a country boy, guys. Sorry. But
I'm
anyways,
definitely a hippie. You didn't offend me.
yeah, and I don't dislike hippies. I love them. But anyways, they would say,
Hippies are
brother,
connected.
you're always mad. Like when we come out here to see nature, all you care about's the blunt or the dope. You don't enjoy it. You don't get grounded. You don't feel the vibrations. You don't hear the sounds. You don't smell the smells. Your senses aren't open. You're closing them off, brother. And you wonder why you feel like shit. Right? It all makes sense now. You feel me?
Yeah. Is
But
this what you
anyways,
told the hippies?
well, no,
Were
back
they
then
doing
when I was telling them, they were telling me like you should get grounded and stuff, encouraging it. And I was like,
okay?
y'all are crazy. I was
Because
like, y'all are crazy. But I believe it now.
you're
I believe them.
you're you're like you're touching on some shit, dude. That did you watch that episode with Aubrey?
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I haven't even watched one of your episodes yet. I don't know where to
That's
watch it.
good. That's good. That makes this more of a credible conversation that we're about to have because I talk about this shit all the time, dude. I had an experience.
Mm-hmm.
I had
I had a couple.
I want you to keep talking. What why are you interested in quantum physics and what gives you the sense of infinite?
All right, here we go. Here's my answer. I stand behind anything that comes out my mouth. I don't care. Call me crazy. We have science down, right? We have an answer to almost everything. Not everything, right? Speaking for our society, we're all raised to go to school, right? To be raised to go to school, become this good person to society, don't break the law. There's religions, don't commit sins, be a good person. I'm dumbing this down. I'm just saying this in the simplest way.
Core values.
Yeah. So, anyway, sorry, I'm kind of scattered here, but you get what I'm trying to make a very easy point here. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so they think all these things I learned growing up. Back in then, I didn't really care because, like I said, I'm very smart. I can remember a lot of things from school that I learned, right? But anyways, the time that I did go to school, I just all this science and all these answers and all these mathematical equations and all these answers to and all even these languages, even our numbers, even our alphabet. our vowels, syllables, all that, everything you can think of. Why is it what it is today? Why is it? It always changed, right? Me and you agree there's far more advanced civilizations before us. You agree on that?
Yes.
Okay, I do too. That being said, as I've gotten clean, as I'm more woke, as I'm more grounded, as I'm more connected to my higher power, as I love myself more, as I respect myself more, as I make more boundaries with myself more, every way possible, I see beyond the bullshit, okay? I read between the lines. I don't care. Even if it's an opinionated thing, like it's my opinion, it's my belief. I'm going to think it. I'm going to study it. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to teach it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to let it be
You're going to
known
talk
that,
about your experience.
yes, even if I sound crazy. So that being said, why I want to study this, because I didn't take school serious. I want answers. I kind of don't believe like half the shit I was taught, half the science, like for instance, gravity, right? Gravity. That's apparently gravity's the key to everything. Gravity's what makes our earth round, pushes everything and just compresses to make a ball, right? So it made a ball. Apparently, Big Bang Theory happened an explosion in time, or an explosion that started the clock, okay? Hear me out. This is what scientists will tell you today. I watch videos all the time from people that went to college that's a doctor, got a degree, a
Mhm.
scientist, a
We're doing the
study.
internet right now. I asked one of my buddies if he'd come on and talk to me because we have a lot of different opinions, which you and I don't right now, which is funnier. You even said woke, and I'm going to touch on that. But I said, man, you're talking about these wildfires, dude. And we need to have a conversation. We don't even have to talk about the wildfires. We just need to have a different opinion type podcast. He said, no, little buddy, I love you, but I just don't do the internet. And I was like, you don't do the internet, but you're a truck driver and you listen to podcasts all day long. I'm sure that you're not listening to FM or AM radio all day. You're on Facebook. You're listening to either probably some strong right wing media, and you're saying that you don't do the internet, and you won't come on to my podcast and have a conversation with me where we could have a real strong difference of opinion, and that would be okay. But okay, buddy, you don't do the internet. So right now, me and you, we're doing the fucking internet right now. That's exactly what we're doing.
I do
We're
the
doing we're
internet. Yeah.
we're I'm doing the internet too. And you're touching on something that, all right, more woke. Let's destigmatize the word woke real quick.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You're woke in a sense of answering the call to awakening. Do you know what the call to awakening is? The call to the journey, the call to your purpose. You start to
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
actualize your purpose, okay?
Yes.
You've become woke in the sense that you've answered this call to awakening. And once you
Yes.
answer this call to awakening, you start to see your vision, your sight becomes more clear. But you're not seeing with your eyes more so anymore. You're seeing with your soul, you're seeing with your conscience. You're seeing
Yes.
with whatever you have asked to dwell inside of you, which can also be an infinite amount of things. I can ask, in my beliefs, I can ask Jesus to dwell within me. I can ask Buddha to dwell within me. I can ask the Tao to dwell within me. I can ask knowledge to dwell within me. I'm big on manifesting things, and that is all an action based off of an intention from a call to awakening of being woke and actualizing and perceiving things that we were taught in school, what was science, that is extremely relatable vibes in a way that you can't explain now, and that is called vibration and frequency. And this is nothing that I've been taught or anything that anybody else has said to me. This is all based off of a real experience that I had with the Creator where everything went black and I was in an orb, a perfect sphere, and I was in my conscience. And I knew that outside of that perfectly diagrammed sphere was the Creator. It was the universe. It was everything. And it told me that in that moment, all of the decisions that I was making based off the event that I had had was going to forever separate me from anything good that was going to happen in this life. I was going to forever have my soul separated from what this was. So I was in this grid-like sphere, and what I realized is at that same moment, if I could just do the exact opposite of what I was doing, physics, just do the exact opposite what I was doing, then the Creator would show me an infinite type love. And sometimes when I act in self and when I act in ego, I can feel the ways of the world. I can feel low vibration. But when I
Yeah.
really act off of this purpose and this intention and this vision and this knowledge that the Creator has given me based off of the experience that I have, experiences like this happen, just like this, Dante. And so what I'm saying is in physics, there's laws. And one of the laws is first things first, is energy is never created nor destroyed. So what I'm starting to understand is inside of my body, there is an energy. My heart beats, yes. I can identify where my heart beats. I feel my heart beating. But there's something else. There's an energy that dwells within me. And then the law tells me, wait, energy is never created nor destroyed. It's only transferred. I'm like, whoa. So that energy that I have, what happens to that energy when I die? Now I'm starting to understand infinity. Then I
Yeah.
find myself in Reddit threads where I'm like talking about simulation theory, but I'm
I
also
was
seeing,
just, bro, I was literally just about to interrupt you and say, you heard the simulation theory?
yeah, yes, dude. I find myself in these subreddits, dude, and they're talking about the exact same things with consciousness and intention and manifestation and love. Most importantly, the big cheat code that I learned was learning how to love myself from that traumatic event and therefore loving my perpetrator genuinely, unconditionally, unadulterated, loving everything about it because that energy that I took from that moment of hate was transferred into love. And now it became my power. And it's fucking crazy because I see that from that moment of hate and that fucked up part of my life, I'm channeling it now. And I'm taking all what used to be rage and all used to be a justification to get high and get angry at people. And it's hitting that filter. It's hitting that other part that's inside of me, my conscience. And it's turning into love like it's like a natural filter. And then it turns into love and then it's projected out. And it becomes this purpose and it becomes my experience. And then I can speak on this exact interaction that we have right now. It's fucking insane, dude. That is quantum physics in this reality.
It is. Is it not?
It has to be.
Crazy, bro.
So tell
Yeah,
me,
so,
why are you interested in quantum physics?
well, I can relate to what you just said, bro. Like, did I not just kind of say that in a sense a while ago? I told you, hey, but when my life took a turn is when I started to love myself, love my ways, and do good. Remember, I said that a little while ago? So
Yeah.
it's like we agree on that strongly. We can say that we both agree on what you just said, and I do. So that
Could
being
you also
said,
agree that you answered some type of call? Like you had like a
yeah,
moment, an epiphany, like you could say almost it was like a real fork in the road where you
yeah,
had this choice to physically make, like, I got to do the opposite of what I've been doing.
my experience came to me in a way like this. You have two options, buddy. Are you religious?
I'm a very spiritual person, but I don't tie myself down to a single deity or a single
Okay,
theology.
me too. So that being said, I've been studying religions, like kind of learning, not really studying. I just want to learn a little bit more about religions and cultures. Like my fiance, she's from Mexico. So I want to learn her culture and religions and stuff like that. But, anyways, and even like more than that, like the way old religions, way before our times, stuff like that, and see how they relate to today's.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure if you've been studying, you can see how crazy they all tie together in a sense. Is it not crazy?
It's absolutely insane how they connect.
And like, let's just talk about some Earth or some like, I guess would this be astronomy or I don't know. Let's just talk about this real quick. So the religions, right? In my studies, I've noticed like a lot of the religions, I wouldn't say all of them, but well, damn near everyone I was looking at, they all painted the same picture in a sense. Even Christians, like in today's society, like in the South where I'm from, right? Well, it's a little different. For instance, firmament is talked about in the Bible, right? Well, in all these old religions, their projection or their what they knew or thought or whatever of the God at that time was, and the earth, they all have a firmament or a dome or like some kind of, like, you know how you said when you had that experience and you saw that ball of light, you said, or orb?
So I was in a grid-like sphere, but I felt like that I was channeling this with my conscience. So
Oh, okay, I misunderstood you, my
I
bad.
was seeing it with my conscience, but on the outside of that was the black universe. But I could
Yeah,
sense and I could feel the creator in that
yeah,
black. I could sense that it could see me and I could feel it and it showed
yeah.
me things.
Huh.
And it was
Interesting.
very simulation like. It was very grid like.
It's crazy. But yeah, so what really just intrigues me, bro, about the firmament and the pictures and like the old maps and the paintings. Have you studied old maps at all?
I'm getting into it, man. It's starting to hit my algorithm on YouTube. I'm not saying like really old maps. I'm talking about like how like New Orleans used to be, that
Yeah.
type of geography and shit.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So I'm not
see,
real laced up on the subject.
okay. Well, anyways, I've been going crazy with it, bro. I'll be like up early, an hour, 2 hours early before work just to study top shit. But
I love
anyways,
it, dude.
yeah,
I do
you
that.
gotta,
I do that with reading.
yeah, you
I'm
gotta
reading a
make
Terrence
time,
McKenna
bro.
book. Yeah, I wake up and do dishes just because like it's my opportunity to read. And
Yeah.
the last guest I had on, Harmon, he's a comedian. We started talking about Terrence McKenna and mushrooms and shit. And
Yeah.
so I'm reading a Terrence McKenna book right now. But I get up just so I can do that, dude.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is power, bro. It truly is. And I'm
It
not
is.
ingesting this here. Like, that's what people have to also understand, brother. Like, you did almost every drug under the sun. You probably did some real damage to your brain, even with having the hepatitis C flowing through your system for so long. People have to understand that this knowledge is being retained here. It's being retained consciously and
Mm-hmm.
subconsciously, not here. It's the experience, and then it's the information that we go and we retain, and we're like, well, yeah, I kind of knew that already. So, like, let's keep digging.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you wake up early in the morning and you study these maps, and what do you study about
Well,
them?
not just maps, just a lot of different stuff, bro. Whatever comes across my mind that morning, it's like, what do I want to study today? Is it going to be a theory? Is it going to be a map? Is it going to be a Bible verse from the Bible? Is it going to be a verse from a book that was wrote a million years ago or however long? I'm exaggerating that, but however long
What got
ago.
you to this point? Like I said, there was a fork in the road. What got you to this point of having this desire for knowledge.
Well, like everyone says, knowledge is power. I believe that knowledge is power, bro. Put it this way: all the Vatican archives, right, or like in Egypt, the what was it, the Alexandria libraries
Mm-hmm.
had the best knowledge in the world, bro. Or some of the most advanced knowledge, technology. Let me tell you something, bro. Them pyramids, dude. Them like the rocks or bricks or whatever, the chiseled stone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like fucking meant to be. Like it's
Yeah,
just
it was there
perfectly
before the
connected.
Egyptians.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
like it's just I don't know, bro. It's like
it's something bigger.
yeah, like there's no
We're not being
tool.
given all the information that we need. There's a
Yes,
reason why
because
in this experience we've chose to be here to live at a very low vibration and be forced a lot of misinformation. And then in this experience, we're supposed to really have an act of faith and answer the call to awakening to understand that we've been more. We've truly been more all along. And we've chose to come here so we can understand that we're meant to expand.
yes, yes.
Simulation theory tells us that too. Dude,
There's so many. Hey, brother, it's infinite. The possibilities can never end.
yeah,
Doesn't that blow your mind away?
it used to. It used to scare me, but now it makes me know that, like, whenever people here die, I know that their soul lives forever. And so if they choose to, if they didn't understand that experience while they're here and how we are sponges and we retain everything. So we can be possessed by negative energy. We can also be possessed by these spirits. They can come through us. They can dwell within us because we live in multiple dimensions, brother.
Yeah.
Once we understand that, and people are crying because this person died, my 5 stages of grief are different now. I'm sad because they're gone in this experience, and I have to understand who they possibly could have been in another life or something more, possibly when I was younger and somebody might have come back and reincarnated. When I've understood these things, man, it helps me tell my son, like, hey, dude, people might say bad things when I'm gone, or you might even be really, really sad that I'm not here anymore. But guess what? This energy lives forever. And once I can
Yeah.
identify that, you can probably sense that the more that you go on and connect the dots, we probably did this before, and you might have been my dad, or we might have been enemies, or you might have been my mom, or you might have been something totally different in a past life. But here, you're my son. And in this next life, we're gonna have another experience where we connect again. And now we
Yes.
remember. We're in some sort of amnesia right now where we're very confused and we don't know how to identify shit. But we're taught at a young age, there's good things that we're taught. You got to identify your purpose. God's always watching. God's always listening.
Yeah.
They're listening to you. They're watching you.
Now, can I interrupt
Okay.
you real quick?
Yeah.
Just real quick. You asked me why I wanted to get into all this, right? Well, think about what you just said, bro. But it's just like the picture's so big to what they teach us. That's why part of me is just like, this is bullshit, what you're teaching us. And
Hmm.
y'all know it. And y'all think it's funny and it's twisted, it's sick,
And people are dying
it's
because of
weird.
it.
Yeah, people are dying. You
We can
think,
have this information and we can change the narrative just like the narrative was changed in our lives. So you're put in a
yes,
position now as a health technician, as a clinician, as someone that's in the trenches and on the front lines, fighting addiction, you have a different perspective on this now. So you go about it a different way. You help
yeah,
people see things in a different way that we didn't get to see at the beach house, bro. And now people that are possibly at the beach house now can see this perspective and be like, wow, it's all connected. It's all been connected. And I just haven't been able to put the thoughts and the dots together because I've been on information overload. And I haven't been given the opportunity or a chance to get myself a clarity of mind to even understand this. But now I love this, the way that I love to say that my brain is now, because I'm completely off psych meds and I'm in good health and I'm in good standing. It feels like that I've taken water and just poured it over my brain, dude, scrubbed it and just kind of like washed my hair, but I was washing my brain. And in
I
doing
feel that.
so, I let my spirit and my conscience just do what it does in my body already through my nervous system and just take over my mind. When ego or self, that other part of me, has a bad thought, or, I fall back into negative thinking, or, whatever the world perceives me to be, or whatever this low vibration may be, because there's two, then my soul, which has cleansed me, takes over, and I can go back to this feeling and this desire and this purpose and this energy that dwells within me. And that's what I didn't understand at treatment. I was told step 3 was to find a higher power, but I was looking everywhere, dude. I was looking in music. I was looking in motivational speakers. I was looking in everywhere that I could find some type of emotional reaction, something that would give me another reaction, much like the drug would give me the reaction when I ingested it in my body. And then I realized at a young age, there were certain things that I remember, like, I'm supposed to look inward. I've already accepted something greater within me, so it has to live within, so it must be from the inside. It's got to be in there. And I have to find that, and I have to identify that, and I have to understand that that too dwells within my spirit and dwells within my conscience and is completely attached and separate from my body too. And that's the perspective that you get to give people where you're at now based off of the experience that you had. And I don't want to speak much on your experience. I wanted you to kind of, tell me about it, because you were hinting at it. You went to treatment 3 years ago, or you're 3 years sober, so you went to treatment 3 years ago. What happened at that moment for you to go to treatment?
I'll tell you what, bro. So,
And I want to know, because that's that moment. That's that moment that you had to answer the call. And it's
okay,
important that it,
I'm going to have to add something in for it to make
okay.
sense. So, before I left Tennessee, I told you I had another kid. Well, nothing was good enough. And it's just like me and the mom to the kid, it didn't work out. I was just a dirtbag. That's just the honest to it. Wasn't meant to be. I'm grateful we have our beautiful child. And I went to the beach house and it opened me to recovery, but I wasn't ready yet. Or I was ready, but I wasn't taking it serious. I thought it just happened like that. You got to put in footwork to get clean. You got
Mm-hmm.
to put in the work. It just doesn't happen overnight. Yes, you stopping can happen overnight, but links to sobriety and continued sobriety, long term sobriety. You get what I'm saying? But,
You have to
anyways,
put in action. You have to meet
yes,
God where your prayer is. It has
yes.
to be an action. Faith without works is dead.
We can all sit in a room and play on our phone and pray to God, like, oh, I want a better opportunity, or, oh, I want to get clean. But continue to lay there. How are you going to change with no effort? You have to want. It's a want. People say use
Mm-hmm.
rock bottom a lot. You have to come to a realization with yourself that it's that time. So I came out here, right? I looked at it like this. Man, I tried to get clean. It didn't work out. Like, I'm going to do it one last time. I'm just going to leave. It sounds messed up leaving my kid and all, but at the time, I wasn't showing my kid true love. I was being selfish. So it didn't matter anyway. If I would have left or stayed, I would probably be dead now or in prison. I looked at it like that, the positive way. If I leave and go build a foundation, maybe I can get my life back. Maybe I won't just give up and continue feeding myself poison, kill myself, you know? So I was like, man, I want life. Like, this ain't right. I want a family. I want to feel love again. Yeah, the drugs are cool, but I want to feel something real, something true that was meant to be. Because deep down, the drugs made me think I was a bad person. But deep down, I'm not, bro. I'll literally, now that I'm sober, I will literally put you in the right direction. I'm not going to steer you wrong. I'd only give you advice that I would want to hear. Back then, I wouldn't. I'd steer you in a direction, the wrong direction. That would make me come out on top.
Mm-hmm.
Me using people as pawns. I was very good at it.
48
Very good
laws of
at it.
power.
Yes. I got a lot of shit I wanted, bro. But that attracted things I didn't want
Mm-hmm.
as well. Positives attract the negative. It's kind of like some things started to click. Not all of them, but the gears started turning, right? My circuit board hasn't lit up yet. Come out here, start getting clean, start getting clear minded. I relapse. And then I get a job. I stop chasing females. I stop looking for love. I'm like, I'm just going to be me. Maybe it'll come to me. Mother of my child now, my fiance. I go to get my first job at the rehab before I relapsed, right? Sorry, I messed up there. I went to get my first job out here at BJ's, a restaurant. As a busboy. I met my girl. She was, what are they called that sit people? A hostess. She was a hostess.
Hostess.
Yeah. Met my girl, right? Everything happens for a reason. I
No
relapse,
coincidences.
and I relapse right then after I see her for the first time, but I haven't talked to her yet, right? And when I saw her, I was like, wow, that girl's a good girl. She's beautiful, and I can tell she's a good person. Her energy's awesome. So I was like, I'm not in the right place to even try to approach her. Well, times go on. I started using again. I'm working. I'm still going to work. We start talking, chatting it up, me and her sister, right? I tell her I'm an addict, came out here for treatment. And she's like, oh, this is my sister, blah, blah, blah. Now, mind you, she's like, hey, like, y'all can be friends, but don't get too attached. Like, he's in treatment, he's an addict, right? Like, I'm going to tell the truth here. But my girl, she's like, yeah, I see something good in him. Yeah, he has a lot of pain in his eyes and he's been through a lot, but I see a good man with a good heart. And she literally gave me a chance. She saw me that I was messing up. I ended up going to detox because I was in sober living, and I failed my drug test, and I missed work for a few days because they made me go back to stabilization and detox. My girl's like texting me, calling me, like, why aren't you, like, wow, you just ran off. Like, what's going on? You're ignoring me. Did you find someone else? And finally, I get my phone back, or they let me make a phone from the house phone. I'm like, hey, I'm on detox. I relapsed. Back on drugs. I'm an addict. I had to tell her everything. I told her everything. She's like, you know what? That don't change anything. I'm still going to be here. I'm your friend. We started dating. Now we have a kid together. We've been together going on 4 years. So, but anyways, what I'm getting at here is,
Congratulations on that, dude. That really is beautiful. And that's
thank
another,
you, bro.
it's one of those promises.
That woman's a miracle, man. She really is. She's the strongest lady I know, hardest working lady, family oriented, truth seeker, truth speaker. I love
You
my
feel
wife,
like she's
man.
your soulmate?
Yeah,
I feel like I
there's
met
no
my
doubt about
soulmate
it.
too. I
There's
was
no doubt
fasting
about it.
before I met my girlfriend. The girl that I'm with now. I've also believe in another cheat code, and it's called fasting. And we have
Yeah,
to fast from the themes. We have to fast from the themes that become a common pattern for the reason that we find disconnect in our relationships. And part of
yeah,
the reason why I got divorced in my last relationship was, oh, I just noticed that sexually, man, I was sexualizing things in a way that like I shouldn't have been doing.
me too.
And I realized that in doing so, I was finding myself going back to the same people that treated me the same way that I was treating myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got divorced, I completely detached. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be celibate. I'm not gonna look for relationships. You know, sometimes like in the middle of the night when I'd get lonely, I'd wake up, dude, and like I'd be messaging, bro. Like just, but then I remember like these are patterns. Like these are things that I used to do when I was drinking. Like I have to
Yep.
do the opposite now. And so through fasting, dude, this girl, completely different looking girl than I've ever been with in my life. I mean, as even all the way down to body type. She walks in my house, bro. I'm in the middle of fasting. She walks down and she's with her brother and we're watching the football game. I look over at him and I'm talking to him because, you know, in my house we speak life and I'm just telling him something. And she just catches my eye and we make eye contact and like we look away real quick. And like it was kind of funny because like I just kind of laughed. I didn't, I thought she was cute. Of course, she's gorgeous, but didn't think that me, of all people, like would be able to attract somebody like that physically in the way that, you know, I've treated my body and stuff. I just didn't see myself that way. Dude, I'm going to make a long story short here. I messaged her the next day and we've been inseparable ever since. She came over to my house and like I was cleaning one day and she was cleaning houses then. And she was like, I've been cleaning all day. I might as well just come over and help clean your house. I made it very clear. I said, look, I've been celibate. I've been celibate and I was really like came to the point of like loving myself so much that I wasn't ever going to be in a relationship no more. I was so happy with where I was going and the goals that I was doing and the father that I was becoming. I truly loved myself again. And then you came in and then you started showing me like I could love myself even more. And you just like didn't care of my insecurities and the things that I had going on. You just wanted to be here. And dude, there's so many little synchronicities, like having epiphanies, even like in real time now. I'm like, we'll be at the grocery store or something, and I'm like, yo, I've been with this girl. I've been with her before. She knows me. We'll think the same thing. She unconditionally believes in me, bro. Like, she's like, yeah, I know. Just, you know, I just really want you to value my time and let's just like be here together and experience this moment while we have it here. That's all I want. I don't care about anything else. Let's show our kids love and let's show our kids based off the experience that we've had before this that we can love one another. And I'm like, "Oh my God. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy because was all I did was accept my circumstances and my outcome. And that's what happened. The girl literally walked through my door. So that's why I asked if you believe she's your soulmate. You brought tears to my eyes when you said on the phone, you had that moment of vulnerability with her, man. And you was like, I'm an addict. And like, I've already heard you speak a little bit on your guilt and how like you like struggle with, you know, not being there for your other daughter and shit, man. And like you sat there and you had that moment of vulnerability, like, fuck it, like I've had my ass kicked for this long and I'm already back here. If I'm gonna lose another person now, so be it. But I gotta do something different. And you told her, you was like, I'm an addict. And you said, you didn't say like she was my girlfriend. You said she was my friend. And you
Mm.
said that she was there for you because she was your friend. And she showed you unconditional love, bro. And now
She
y'all
did.
have a family and like it's all come full circle. That's fucking beautiful. That's what everybody in recovery should understand. That when you put in your intention and you see your purpose and you finally let go of the things that hold you back and you say, okay, I don't want to lose this last person, this last relationship based off of the things that I've done before. I've
Yeah.
got to be vulnerable. I've got to let my ego aside. I've got to just be myself in this moment so I don't lose another person. And then you
Yes.
have that moment of vulnerability, and then that person just says, come here, let me hug you. Like, I've been waiting for you to do this for so long, and now you're
Yes.
here. Like, I'm not here to use that against you. I'm here to love you through that and show you your worth and empower you from that. And I'm sure
Yeah.
that your girl has a beautiful story too, to where y'all found these connections and y'all drawn these lines to where it is now.
And it's crazy because you said everything happens for a reason, and it's like my background compared to her background, us meeting, coming from 3,000 miles away. It just doesn't happen like that, and it's not meant to be, bro. The connection that she had on me, or the influence she had on me, the connection we had, the motivation she put in me, the trust, the faith, the manifestation to be
The
the man.
action.
If I didn't meet her, I might not be talking to you. You know, everything happens for a reason, bro. That's just another stepping stone in my story. And it's just like, I'll never be able to repay her for that. She literally, sometimes, even my mom will agree. She's like, sometimes I literally like just thank God that my son met that lady. I truly believe that. Now, obviously, we have to save ourselves to an extent, but people
We have
can
to
guide
save
you.
ourselves before we
People
can
can
save
teach
anybody
you.
else.
Yes, but people can teach you. People can guide you. People can
Mm-hmm.
show you the way. And she did. And, you know, it's just like, it's a feeling you can't explain. It's a feeling you can't explain.
What was this moment of awakening?
I told her that I was an addict. I spilled the beans. She accepted it. She pushed me to do better. And then I kept using, right? I wasn't ready. I kept using and using and using and getting worse and worse. A lot of fentanyl, a lot of coke, a lot of Xanax. I was poisoning people, bro. A lot of guilt. Hurt a lot of people. Hurt a lot of people's people. Generations down from now, you know? And it's just like, that's why I hold a lot of guilt. But anyways, the awakening was just kind of, I kept using, but then I kept overdosing. Even though I had a crazy tolerance and I wasn't overdosing for months before because I was in active use, right? Smoking like 20 to 30 fentanyl pills a day, bro. That's a good amount, bro, because the half life of fentanyl is not that long. You're only high for like 30 minutes. And once your tolerance gets building up, it's even shorter. And it depends on the analog of the drug. It's just, there's so many different factors that could change, right? I kept using, then my lungs started giving out. My girl kept taking me to the hospital. I was puking, I was coughing up black dust or like the fumes from the drugs, hawking up weird, bloody black stuff. My lungs, when I would breathe out, they were starting to burn. And it's like I almost had a hole in one of my lungs. Like it wasn't working right. It wasn't functioning right. And I
Mm-hmm.
went to the doctor, and the nurse literally, before they even told me what was wrong with me, she literally pulled me out to this hallway because the hospital that day was packed, bro. It was like a zombie movie. They had tents outside. There were so many people sick that day. And they literally rushed me back, an addict. Usually they make those people wait. And people were mad, bro. They're like, what? He just got here. The lady takes me back there, bro, and she goes, son, I'm going to tell you right now. Because I told her, I was like, why am I feeling like this? Why? My body's shutting down. And she's like, honey, you need to put them drugs down. She's like, you need to find life. And then I kept using for a couple more weeks. Had a really bad overdose. I was at my girlfriend's house. Some dude came. He texted me. He wanted to buy some pills. I told my girl we were watching a movie. I was like, I'm going to go downstairs. I'll be back. Well, I went downstairs. I was gone for hours. I never came back. And that wasn't like me. So my girl calls my mom back in Tennessee. And she's like, Dante's missing for the first time since I've known him. She's like, that's not good. Let's start calling police stations. Let's start calling hospitals. because that's the only place he would be. Or he's messed up somewhere, blacked out. They start calling my phone nonstop for hours. A nurse finally answered, sorry, I skipped ahead. When I went down to sell the dude pills, he had more drugs. He had some clear burn pure fentanyl. Mind you, I was selling the blue 30s and the Xanaxes. Well, before I could blow that hit of fentanyl out, bro, I woke up in the hospital with a tube down my throat, with my girlfriend crying and my mom crying on FaceTime, looking at me, begging me like, what is going on, Dante? Why do you keep doing this? Do you want to die? Do you not like life? So I overdosed. When I blew out the smoke, right, I collapsed immediately in dude's car. He dumped me out in the alley in Long Beach. Some lady walking her dog saw my body laying by the dumpster, called the ambulance. Ambulance got there. They had to shock me with a defibrillator. They had to shock my heart because it wasn't going. I was clinically dead. I wasn't breathing. I had no pulse. They had to stab me with needle Narcans in my legs 9 times. And I finally woke up in the hospital with a tube and like IVs and like those patches that stick to you to monitor your muscles and nerves. Like the whole deal. And my mom was crying. My girl's crying. The nurses are like teared up. I literally look at them and say, what happened? And I rip all that shit off, bruh. Walk outside. I get my dope out of my nuts. I had it in my underwear. I started getting high again. For a week, though. For a week. I kept getting high. Well, every day I was getting high, my body kept shutting down. Remember, I told you it wasn't fun no more. Every time I hit that full, my body was shutting down. It was telling me, stop, you're going to die. Stop, you're going to die. And anytime I had that feeling before, I didn't care. I kept going and I didn't die. It was a miracle. I've literally sat and done, I only weighed 190 pounds soaking wet in my addiction. 80 pounds, 70 pounds. I was so small. I should have died. It don't make sense. And then that day, from that day on, I couldn't handle it no more, even though I had this huge tolerance for years. And I was like, you know what? I flushed all the pills, hundreds of pills. I flushed them all. Well, wasn't ready. A few hours later, I bought another big sack of pills. Well, I got high that night. I was paranoid. I felt like I was dying. I called my best friend. He was sober. He literally put his sobriety on the line. Cola Costa, my best friend. He came to my sober living where I was using. And they didn't know. I had everyone manipulated, bro. I was living in a sober living, getting high, selling drugs off of my dad's insurance. I had it made in my head. Shows you the growth from the way I think now. But anyways, I got that next sack and I started getting high. And my buddy came and he's like, Dante, like, you need to stop. And he was like, literally, when I fell asleep, he stayed there in my bed with me, laying there with his hand on my, like, in my neck to feel or make sure I was breathing because I kept jerking. I was crying to him. I was like holding him, like, bro, like, help me. Help me. I didn't know what to do. He's like, come on, I'm going to take you to detox. Because he worked at a detox in LA. I went up there, never touched fentanyl again, bro. Worst kick, bro. Luckily, he medicated me, helped me with comfort meds from the detox. I laid in the floor kicking and in pain. I finally got clear from it. It was my birthday, too, when I was in detox. And my girl brought me this necklace. And that day, my faith was restored. That my grandmother always tried to teach me. Never looked back since and never will.
I love that, brother. Your faith was restored. What what at that moment restored your faith? What was that moment that you just knew?
It's like I was playing a tape of just everything leading up to then. And it was like, okay, I either continue to feed into this bullshit I have in my head over this substance, or I cut the shit and try something new. That was really it's simple. I was like, it's either what I'm doing is not working at all. I literally just started making small changes, bro. You have to do it small. If you try to do them all, you can't become the person you want to be in a short span. Look at it like a bowl of M's, bro. If you reach in there and just grab with a big motion and jerk out, you're going to drop a bunch of them. They're going to scatter across the floor. If you reach in there gently and pick one at a time and put them in a cup, you can sort your problems out a lot easier, right? You get me? You got
Yeah.
to focus one problem at a time to fix yourself, to figure out why you viewed the things you did that way, why that emotion made you choose substances. Why did what that thing, that person say trigger you? Why did that movie scene almost make you cry? It just makes you wonder.
You have to identify everything.
Yes. Yes,
You
you
have
do.
to be aware of everything because to be aware is to be alive. And then you have to identify everything. You have to see everything for what it is and look at it from the perspective of like it's a glass of water. We know what a glass of water is, and it's not going to be anything more than that. So I have to look at everything from a very simple perspective, much like identifying what a glass of water is. You mentioned the M&M analogy. I love that. You are hinting on the fact that you were so broken down that you decided that you were going to do the exact opposite of everything that you were doing before. You had answered you had answered that call and decided that if you were going to have any purpose in this life, that whatever you were doing, it had to be the exact opposite. And so we understand if this is a simulation and that if I've been doing the things that I've been doing and I've been seeing for things the way that they are and how they've been returned, if I do the exact opposite, I wonder why you're 3 years sober now doing the exact opposite. I wonder why I'm 5 years sober now when I've started doing the exact opposite. It's really it's funny because we go back to that saying that I was also taught at a very young age, which is faith without works is dead. I had to be actionable in doing something that was completely different from everything that I was doing and do something different. You would go back to the M&M analogy. Can't do it all at once. It has to be little by little. Rome wasn't built in a day. And I've got some examples of what some of my listeners can probably start to do in order to try to achieve this. And I'm going to give an example, and then we'll see if you can give an example. But I started doing things like making my bed. I read a book. It's talking about make your bed. Watched a video about it. I was like, hey, that must be really relevant. Making my bed established my intention for the day. And if there was one thing that I was going to accomplish for that day, it was making my damn bed. I grew up in a house that I had a lot of clutter in it, dude. Clutter everywhere. It was a depressed household. Mental health was a real thing in my mom's life. She was depressed. There was clutter everywhere. I don't blame her for that. I see for the experience for what it was now, and I knew that if I wanted to have something different in my life, I couldn't have a cluttered house. So now I don't have clutter in my house. We live in my home. There's things everywhere. Everything has a spot, but we have the intention of making sure that everything is organized, everything has a place. That established the intention, and I can still follow into my purpose. I'm still 5 years sober because I'm doing something different than what I used to do. It's little things. Decluttering my space around me started to help me declutter my mind. And then I started to declutter my thoughts and my beliefs and everything that was going on around me. And so in that, I started to have more clarity. And then I started to see, hey, these are wins. I'm winning. I'm getting further away from that last time that I got drunk. And now I'm connecting more. now there's little connections and synchronicities, and like I'm starting to feel energetic, and like I'm like really feeling like hopeful, and like the universe is giving that back into return with me, all because I did something different. I did the exact opposite of what I was doing. So you started doing the exact opposite of what you were doing, and now what's happening? What's your life like now?
This is what a day for me looks like. I'd be lying to you if I told you, just like you said earlier, it's not all peaches and cherries and gung ho every day, you know? We all have our struggles. We all have our ups and downs. We all have our bad days, our good days. I try to make it the best day I can. I wake up, you know, I try to be grateful. I look at my nice apartment I got. For the longest time I slept on the floor. I slept on dirty, pissy, nasty carpet, bean bags. I slept on cots. I slept on concrete, slept on metal beds. I'm 27 years old. I look young, but I do would like to think that I've experienced a lot. I know I've experienced a lot, and I know that I have a lot of experiences, and I truly do believe that this video may come across. If it does come across, I hope they do listen to people like me and you, bro, because that's one of the problems here. We have all this mainstream science and beliefs and teachings in the media and all these showing what they want to show. That's why it makes me question all this, and I want to learn now that I'm sober and clear minded and I can understand things because I didn't give things thought before as I do now. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can understand things for what they are and see what they ain't. A lot of addicts, they get clean. We have a lot of the same traits and we talk about the same things. We have a lot of the same feelings. We have a lot of the same hobbies. We think alike. Also, great minds think alike. We've always been told that. So why are we all thinking and saying some similar things and theories? Once again, we're all connected. Now, my
I
big
got chills when you
question,
said that.
yeah, it's crazy, huh? And what the crazy thing is, and see, everybody argues when people answer or we get told things. It's like we all argue for what it is, but the reality of it is anything's possible here.
Anything.
So what? How is that right? How is what you're telling me right? That might be your belief, but it's not right. You
It
feel me?
doesn't have, yeah. And that's the thing. It doesn't have to be right because every possibility is possible. All that I'm saying is all you have to do is relate to my experience and then try to do the exact opposite of what keeps getting you into the place that you're getting.
Yeah,
And maybe if you have just that little epiphany from your moment of suffering, from your traumatic event, if I do
yeah,
the opposite of everything that I'm feeling, maybe just for an hour, I wonder what will happen.
yeah,
Challenge yourself. And that's
yeah.
what you do. And that's what you did.
Yes, literally, and it kind of started at beach house. You said the bed thing. Kind of, I'm not. I used to be big on that, but kind of my girl does it now. I'm spoiled, so. But
And my girl, dude, she's so good at cleaning. I have to like take charge. That means that if she's doing, that means that I need to do better. That means
me
that I need
too,
to meet her energy. I need to
me
meet her
too.
where she's at because she's doing something with the intention of making something better. So I need to match that. Doesn't mean
But
that I
guess
go
what,
and
bro?
get in her
Guess what
way.
though? We can admit this though because we know the truth and we're gonna speak it. They like your woman and my woman, they're powerful, bro. More than that, they're stronger than they think, and like they they have big influences on us, and we're not even the same gender, and we look up to them. Ain't that crazy? And typically, we're alpha, and like, I used to be a big tough alpha male, right? I used to think oh, blah blah blah, bro. No, I'm wrong. Women are the higher gender, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're strong. Yeah, we're men. Yeah, we don't talk about our problems.
We only get the power from them. If there was not
Yes,
a woman on this planet, we wouldn't be who we are. Where if we're energy, some energies don't mix, some energies don't dwell, but when you know that you know. And I challenge people to really, if they find themselves in a season of always finding misfortune, look at the situation that you're in. Look at the people that are around you. Look at their motives. Look at their intentions. Look at their purpose. Try to see where they're going. Are they trying to hold you back? Are they really there to support you and love you and be there for you? Because if you're really honest with yourself, the answer's very clear. And you said something about used to be this tough guy. And it's funny because I didn't used to be a tough guy. I used to live in fear, bro. I used to be dwelled with fear. I used to be afraid of everything.
I haven't even got to make that point, and I'm glad you said that because when I was doing all that dirt and like thinking I was a tough guy and hanging out with bad people, guess what drove me to that? Fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, when I was using, I didn't deep down the good side of me feared because he's like, Dante, wake up, what are you doing? You're not going to have a good life. This ain't going to end well. I can admit that I've never been diagnosed with anything. I don't even know if diagnoses from doctors are correct because it's all opinionated. You can go to one doctor and it's different from another doctor. But yeah, they all have a basic scale that they agree on, like measurements and stuff and like facts. But what I'm getting at is even with that, they still say different things. I feel like I'm smart enough to know I have a mental health problems, bro. I just haven't been diagnosed. Like I truly believe half of me's really good, and we all have good and bad in us, whether we're doing bad now or later or
Mm-hmm.
future.
You can't. It's the yin yang.
Yes, yes, half of me's evil, half of me's good, just like the Bible.
It coexists. It's
Yeah,
not half of you. It just coexists.
yeah.
We
I'm just putting it in a
identify.
basic explanation, kinda.
We
You know.
identify that it's there, and once we can identify that it's there because we're realists, then we understand that evil dwells within me, and I don't have to act on that. That's what I'm saying, man. I could easily, after what I've done, I could easily become very viral and very famous off of one action based off hate. But it takes love and intention and purpose and drive and manifestation to do the right thing, to achieve that
Bingo.
same
Yes.
thing you want in that vision. I know what I could do. It's very clear.
Yeah.
I know because of
We
good
could
and
do it right
evil,
now.
it coexists. But I choose love because I know I've seen the vision of what happens after I choose love. And while I actively choose love, you said something, and I want to touch on this. In my reality, man, I'm a leader, dude. I know how to do things. I know how
I should have
to
said
make
that.
things happen.
Yeah.
But you know what? Without somebody in my corner for me to be vulnerable, I wouldn't be like this. Because sometimes I'll lay in bed and I'll cry, bro. I'll shed real tears and I'll be like, I just love my life so much. I know that you feel the way that you feel, and I hate that for you.
Yeah.
I hate that. And I can really just express that and be vulnerable and just be who I truly am in my most authentic self. And that makes me more powerful than ever fronting up and throwing guns in the air and putting on this tough guy persona. I've created the reality based off of my intention, and it's came back to me tenfold. And it's happening in your life too. I'm going to have you on again because we're going to have more conversation, because it's another conversation that I have with another person that's hundreds of miles away from me. And it's like, whoa, you just pick up the phone and talk to them like that? It's like, yes, because we've answered the call to awakening, man. We've answered that call and we've done something differently. And that's what I'm encouraging people to pick up from this podcast, to pick up from this episode, is Dante here, man. I knew that he picked up that phone because when I saw him at treatment, I knew who he was, and I knew that he was a great father and he loved his daughter at that time. But I knew some shit had happened. But then you see somebody, and I said this in my episode with Aubrey, you see somebody's posts and you can hear their language in their posts, and you can sense something in your intuition. And what I'm sensing, humility. The pride's been put aside. It happened with Aubrey. You have a different tone. You carry yourself in a different way because you've decided, man, God has blessed me and taken me from almost dying so many times, and I'm still here. And there's somebody that loves me like I want to love myself. And I've got to meet them. And now it's tenfold. My name, Jordan, in Hebrew, Jordan means to flow. It was very clear, dude. It was very clear. Once I had to do the opposite, I just had to remember who I was. And if I remembered who I was always going to achieve a flow state. And now it's undeniable. I say that in every podcast. The conversations that we have and the walks that we live and the lives that we touch and the stories that we share, based off of the experience that we have because we weren't paying attention in school, it's undeniable of what's happening. And dude, this shit's about to blow up, bro. I always get nervous at the beginning of podcasts, and I don't know why, because I mean, all I do is just be my authentic self, and then it always I surrender the outcome, and then it happens like this. It's uncomfortable. That's why I get anxious. That's why I'm like, is it going to happen for me again? Like, am I going to have that connection again? Am I doing the right thing? Am I spiritually fit for this? And then the connection happens again, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, damn, you got to surrender the outcome.
It's
Just
like
got to be authentic.
It's like as soon as we kick it off, it's easy. We start opening up more, and it's like we can figure each other out more, the way we each other think. I'm always here, and I'll always answer, guys. I'm not going to ignore a brother that's going through a struggle that I've lived, whenever I could literally maybe tell somebody, or a younger person, one thing that could literally change their whole life, the trajectory of their life. So I just want to reach as many people as I can. I've been thinking lately, right? I've been doing, like you said, bro, we put our heart into this content. Like, even me just doing my little, because I have a YouTube channel, right? And in my future, I want to do videos of recovery, talking like this. I'm still into firearms legally, though. Like, I have all legit guns legally obtained. I want to do gun videos, continue my motorcycle videos, my dirt bike videos, maybe a little gaming. I want to do the social media thing. I want to expand. I want to reach like-minded people. I want to give advice to young people that are struggling with addiction or mental health, or anybody, even older than me. If a lot of older people don't like hearing younger people out, but I'm always here.
But it's the intention of my purpose, again, of what I do, that this is my amends. This is how I prove in my action. It goes beyond this camera right here, bro. I live this life behind this camera just like this. I'm very much goal-oriented. I talk to people. I want to connect to people. I'm vulnerable with folks. Don't worry about what people have to say. Dante, there's people that could be thousands of miles away that are going to be impacted by this and that are going to love you. You might have done some things in your past that could have been wrong. That's for you to deal with, and you got to understand that there's remorse and there's guilt. And you can have remorse for those things, and some people are going to want to keep you down. Some people are going to want to hold your past against you. That's just to hold you back from your real purpose. And once you can identify that too, then that pushes you further in this direction of still doing the opposite of what you've been doing, which was drugs. Because listen, if you went back and started doing drugs and doing the things that you were doing before what you're doing now, those people that you think about sending you message, those are going to be the first people that are going to be in your inbox asking you if you can hang out, or asking you what you're up to, or trying to get into your business and trying to
Yeah.
figure out what's up. So take those things with a grain of salt. Take the comment section with a grain of salt. I put
Yeah.
my record on the screen sometimes in my podcast, bro. 9 arrests, and not one of my mugshots look like I do right now. And there's a
Same,
reason for
bro.
that.
So I'm taught all this science and math and then gravity and like the Big Bang Theory and all these catastrophic events, right? But I don't know, buddy. It's just like this. They say that they come to these conclusions and it's just there's an answer for everything. But then we have time. And then we have the word infinity. They say space never ends, right? Just how they say time travel is possible now. I don't think so, bro. I don't. And you know why? Because I heard something very weird and it made me feel weird. And it gave me like chills, like even when me and you were talking some parts tonight, I got chills and had weird feelings in my head and I would get teary eyed. Did you have any of that
Yeah.
when we were talking?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, my thin ass hair, my gray hairs were almost standing up.
Yeah. You know exactly what I mean. A lot of people won't, but you know what I mean. What I'm getting at is here, right? So they say all that. Space never ends. Gravity keeps us here. Gravity makes Earth an Earth. It's always pulling us. The great attractor, the vacuum. What is the great attractor? We don't have an answer. What powers the vacuum? The great attractor. We don't have an answer what the great attractor is, though. Oh, but we have an equation to solve that, right? You said we do. We have numbers. We have a metric system. We have time. Time never ends. How can you time travel? How can you go, right? Look, this is what's
Time is
crazy.
linear.
Look, yeah, listen. Even if we did build a time machine, let's say I called you tomorrow and said, bro, I just built a time machine. Are you ready? Right? If we went to fire it up and we're like, we're just going to go to the future and see what the truth is, guess what would happen? That time machine wouldn't let you do it. This is my theory. It wouldn't work. You can't go into the future. The time never existed. It hasn't happened yet. How could you go to something that never happened, that
Well, you
never
can't time
existed?
travel to the future. You can't time travel to the future, but if time's linear, then you can always travel back. So
Yeah,
this
but
might have happened already.
listen, that's the tricky part though. That's what makes it. Okay, you're right. That's why I'm on the fence. Listen to this. Even if they go back in time, right? Guess what the only way forward is? History. And the course will change. You're not going to get back to where you want to get. You're going to get
No,
lost. You're going to get lost. So it's
but
like,
some people might come back in time to give us signs and give us warnings. Maybe like The Simpsons, maybe it's part of the plan. Maybe they
maybe,
know that.
maybe. I'm not saying the Earth isn't a globe, but I don't believe NASA. I don't believe some of these scientists. The government, in my opinion, is crooked. I believe there is an elite group of humans, and yeah,
We're in agreement
that's
with that, man. And we're going to have to get on and talk more about that.
yeah.
So, but
Next
with this
episode,
one,
conspiracy theories.
yeah, yeah. And dude, I have so many, I've done like maybe I don't know how many guests I've had on, but every guest that I've had on, we're going to come back. But like some podcasts are just, they're getting better, bro. They're getting better.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me
Oh
about
yeah,
the
the football helmet.
football
Yeah,
helmet.
yeah. So,
Tell me about the
um,
football helmet and then give me all your plugs. Plugs as in like give me that dude that you getting that shit from, but now
Yeah,
give me
now
your
it's my
plugs,
name.
bro. Tell me where people can find you.
It was beat to hell. It was a Honda CRV. My stepsister, got it from my stepsister, right? She gave it to me when I got a new car, or when she bought a new car, because I wrecked my car or something. And well, when I came out here, when I broke down to my mom and said, "Hey, I'm going back to California," I went to her house and she drove me to the airport, and I gave her all my drugs and my needles, the keys to my car. That's when I came out here this time, right? Well, I left my car sitting in my mom's property, like in her driveway, and like obviously she don't want that car there. It's just bad memories, and it's got needles and blood all over the ceiling, and it was disgusting. It was shot out. There was like 10 bullet holes in the car because I got in like two shootouts in that car specifically, and luckily I didn't get hit. But anyways, so she wanted that dude to come get the car off her property, and she said, just get rid of it all. Well, when he fucking popped the back end in those CRVs, they have like a big trunk and there's like a table that pulls out and you can have picnics on it, right? Out the trunk of your car. My football helmet from high school, football, I always loved football, man. When I was a kid, it made me so happy. And he always knew that. And he saw my helmet and was like, wait, you can't throw this away. What the fuck's wrong with y'all? And he grabbed it. And I drew him a picture 20 years ago, right? In his shop, in his toolbox. And I hung it up with a piece of scotch tape. Now, this dude, I haven't talked to this dude in years, right? He called me 2 days ago and he said, hey, man, I just wanted to check on you. I'm like, okay, how you doing, buddy? He's like, good, man, good, man. He's like, I stay in contact with your mom. She told me you've been clean and sober, and I see that you're doing good. And we had talked through Messenger, but like very briefly, like, hey, I hope you're doing good. Miss you, man. That's it. That's all that was said. And he goes, something happened to me today in my shop that touched me. And I'm like, okay. He's like, a man came in here, and I'm not going to give any names out because I'm from a small town and I don't want it to happen. But a man came in and we started talking about his son and addiction, because I'm not going to say what happened, but drugs hurt his son, right? And he was kind of breaking down. Well, they talked for hours, he said. Well, at the end of the conversation, my buddy had taken my football helmet, remember, out my car, and he put it on his toolbox up by that picture I drew him 20 years ago. Well, whenever he was like, all right, well, I got to finish up my work here, and dude was about to leave, he turns all of a sudden, he turns around, bro, and looks in the corner of the shop and walks up to it. And he goes, wait a minute, whose football helmet's that on that wall? My buddy goes, oh, he's long gone, man. That's a good little buddy of mine. He's in California, living it up. Dude looks at him white as a ghost like this, and his eyes open. Er, er, no, he looked at him, right? And then he goes, yeah, but who is it? And my buddy says, oh, his name's Dante Adams. And then his eyes opened and he went white as a ghost. And he said, you know what, man? He said, I think I owe that kid an apology, because a lot of parents around here, I'm going to say it like that, a lot of people around here blame him for their son's addiction. And now he's helping people and showing them the right way. And he just started bawling, man. And he feels like he owes me an apology.
And you probably don't feel like that he does. It's about the experience, Dante.
Yep.
Damn, it came full circle. The apology is your action right now.
Pretty crazy, huh, man? And that's like no lie. That's a true story from my heart. Like I said, I'm not putting the names out there, so it's not like y'all can fact check
Yeah,
it or ask the dude, but
no,
just know I wouldn't
we
lie about
we
that.
believe everything here, bro. Everything. There's no reason to lie. We have no
Yeah.
reason to lie about this experience. We've already been vulnerable enough to share what we share. There's no reason to lie about our stories anymore.
And that just makes my faith even stronger when things like that happen. When I get these signs, it makes it all stronger to me, bro. It's crazy. And anyways,
It makes my faith stronger too. Stories like that empower my faith and remind me that I'm on my right path, because if I wasn't, then I wouldn't have heard that story, and
yeah.
I would have already been taking my way from the sunlight of the spirit. And knowing that I'm on my path and on my purpose, you sharing that story reminds me that that's light, bro. You're speaking life and
Now
you're
here's the
sharing
bigger
light.
picture, though. Sorry to interrupt, but then I had the nerve to message the other son from the father, right? To check on him. And, he was just like, I told him what I was doing. He's like, damn, man, you could help a lot of people. I was like, I don't think people take me seriously. Like they still have that vision of me doing bad back home, like you said, and they don't believe me. And then I told him, I was like, yeah, I was like, do me a favor, buddy, stay in touch. And if you ever need to talk, we can. And I just want to spread like my addiction experiences and get my word out there and come across people and make a community. And then literally that same day, you messaged me and was like, hey, bro, or yeah, you messaged me, or no, I'm lying. You messaged me before that happened, but like just the way it all happened, bro. Like I was like, oh, I want to talk about some of this stuff. And then you're like, hey, let's do a podcast. Ain't that weird?
It is weird,
It's
but
not
it's
weird.
no coincidence.
Yeah, it's not weird. It's like, it had to happen.
And it's
This
going to
is
happen
history.
again. It's got to happen again, because this is a start to, dude, there's so many people out here. What's my audience? I don't know my audience, because people are waking up right now. But all we
Yeah.
have to do is just share that we're waking up and just be ourselves and share this. Hey, man, go ahead and tell us where, you told that person you can reach out to you and you can talk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so tell us where we can find you, man, where we can even see some of your content, where you're riding your bike and whatnot, dude. Like share us your YouTube channel, your TikTok, your Facebook, all that
Yeah.
stuff, man. Tell us where we can find you.
Okay, guys. So I have Facebook. My name is going to be here, Dante Adams. On TikTok, I am Donnie the Don. On YouTube, I'm Don Out West. They're all kind of similar, Don or Donnie the Don. Um, and then the last thing that I'm going to rant about, or not rant about, but just go on about is I've always wanted to do this since I got sober, but and there's so many people and so many things and energies, and I can't literally reach out to y'all. Like it's impossible. I can't even remember things. So I want to apologize to everyone that I've ever been around in a state of mind that I'm not today. I apologize to my parents from stealing and lying, manipulation. I apologize to my grandparents, to anyone I've ever told I've hated, to anyone I've offered substances or sold substances, to anyone I've ever lied to, and yeah, literally to anything, man. And yeah, especially my parents, man, because, you know, now that I'm sober and I have a kid, and I'm sure you can relate to this, like all those little old sayings our parents used to say, like, oh, you're going to kill me. Like, not literally, like, stress me out till I die, right?
Mm-hmm.
I put my parents and grandparents and cousins and friends. I had a lot of people that loved me, dude, in my town. I feel like when I was younger. And yeah, man, it's just, and I still do, not as much as I used to, but it's just like, I don't know, man. Yeah,
Listen, man,
yeah.
you just made amends on this podcast, and that's an actual first. And I'm honored to be a part of that, bro, because
And then
that's vulnerability.
I would love for anybody who doesn't believe me or like who wants to talk to me further more about a situation. All my ads are going to be here. Y'all know my family back home. Y'all know who I am. It's not hard to find me. You can literally Google my name. Oh, yeah, we were going to put my record up here. You can literally Google me and my thing. Google Dante Adams, Tennessee, or Greenville, Tennessee, or Greene County. It's going to be the first thing that comes up.
It's beautiful
Drug
and
bust,
powerful, man.
cocaine, guns found, just crazy stuff like that.
Except for the 30 days that I've been in your presence, brother. But I can genuinely say that I love you, and you've got a friend here, bro. You got a brother. You've got family here in Texas, man. If you're ever here, bro, you have a place. If that house catches on fire from wildfires, bro, we have a place here for you, man. My
Thank you,
home's
man.
open.
That's another thing. Like I said at the beginning, I know a couple people, not a lot, but a couple people that were heavily affected by the fires. Pray for them, guys. Pray for all the people back home in Tennessee that got touched by the floods, the hurricanes. No, United States is in a hard time right now, guys, and the plan of the elites and government is working. They're dividing us, bro, and that's what they want. And see, and that's what people don't know. We can't make a stand until we, the people, all come together and make a stand. That's the only way we'll ever know the truth. And until then, we wait and see what unfolds before our eyes. We watch the history be made. We are history.
We
So that's
practice
it.
unconditional love. We
And that's
practice
all I'm going to
unconditional
say,
love,
man.
brother.
I ain't going to keep going on, but hopefully
We'll
we
do
can do
this
this
again.
again
We
soon. I
will.
hope.
Thank you so much, man. And I hope you have a good evening, bro. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing a little bit of yourself with us. And dude,
Yeah.
we're grateful for you. I'm grateful for you, man. This is a vision that I had that was straight from God. So you know that the message like this, it's going to touch the right lives. We just have to put it in action. So now the
Yeah.
work's been done, baby. We just keep
Let's
doing
do it.
this.
Hey,
Never. And we won't be silent. I want to get you back on when you're a little bit more comfortable, and I want to talk some more about your trauma.
yes, we could do that here probably very soon, bro. I'll
Okay,
be a
man.
little more comfortable, and
Yeah.
next time I'll be a little more organized because I literally freestyled this, bro. I have
I
no
freestyle
notes.
every one. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
sounds good, brother. Hey, you have a good rest of your night. Love you,
you
man.
too,
Nothing
brother.
but blessings.
Love you too, man.